Hello everybody and welcome back to another Speaker in the Spotlight, which is your chance to get to meet some of the speakers in the upcoming Children's Mental Health Matters Summit, which starts on the 16th of September. It runs for 10 days, not including the weekend, and it is a completely free event. So if you haven't already, do register for your ticket at www.childrensmentalhealthmatterssummit.co.uk, and you'll be able to get access to all of the talks, as well as transcripts and free gifts and lots of other things that are going on. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome on today's speaker, who is Gill Sealey. Good morning, Gill.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. I'm very well, thank you for asking. So I'm going to hand straight over to you, if that's okay, and just ask you to introduce yourself, just telling us a little bit about you as a person, not your business side of things, but you as a human being.
Well, I'm Gill. I was a teacher, primary school teacher for 20 years, and gave that up 10 years ago now. Just from the whole, I think a lot of people in teaching, the same story as a lot of people, burnt out, a little bit fed up with the politics, all of that kind of stuff. And my happy place is probably the thing that tells you most about me. My happy place is sitting on quite cold beach in Northumberland with a cup of tea. That's my favourite thing to do. Just being out in the open and out in the open air. I'm very lucky at the moment. I live in Malvern, at the foot of the Malvern Hills in Worcestershire, with my hubby and my teenage daughter and our mad cockapoo called Lottie. So we spend a lot of time walking up on the hills. I was out this morning, getting blown to glory up at the top, but we're very lucky to have that so close. So that's great. I'm quite a sci-fi nerd, a fantasy nerd. I love fantasy and Lord of the Rings and all that kind of stuff. I crochet. I also run a little craft business with my husband called Dyad Crafts, where I sell my crochet, and he paints slates. Actually, he paints maps onto slates. So we do that, and we sell at craft fairs and that kind of thing, which is great. I'm a weaver. I have a floor loom called Mildred downstairs, so I enjoy doing that in my spare time, and do lots of things like puzzles and jigsaws and all that kind of crosswords and all those kind of things. Really enjoy doing. So yeah, quite eclectic, really. Yeah, so that's us.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing. That's, lots of things in there, and I love that you're what was the name?
Mildred.
Mildred. I love that she has a name.
Of course.
That's amazing. No, another reason I love doing these is you find out other stuff about people that you didn't know before. So that's incredible. Sounds like lots of fun, and you sound very busy as well.
Yes, it does seem quite going from one thing to the next, but all good things. So I can't complain at all.
Amazing. And then do you want to just tell us a little bit about your business, because you said you were a teacher and you left the education system, and so where did the idea of your business come from, and who is it, what do you do and who does it help?
Okay, so my business is Neurospicy Parenting, and I help parents of neurospicy kids. So whatever flavour of spice that is, whether it's autistic or ADHD or dyslexic or any of the above, I'm very much not into the whole diagnosis. I know a diagnosis and a written assessment is really important, and our daughter's got a couple at least. So they are really important, obviously, but in terms of helping the child, I'm very much more about helping parents to help their children, rather than you're teaching the child rather than teaching the diagnosis. Because I think when I was in that position, my daughter's now 18, she has dyslexia, ADHD and high functioning autism, and when that was all first discovered, it was really difficult. I was in a position where, even though I was teaching at the time and you would think I know the right places to go, I didn't. And I think a lot of teachers are in the same position, that they'd love to do more and they'd love to help more in schools, but they haven't got the training, they haven't had that input. And also, they don't really know where to go for the help either. So I did, I think, what a lot of parents do, and joined forums and joined, all these kind of groups online to try and find out more. And all I found really were lots of parents who were very cross at the education system, understandably, because I'm not going to start on that one. Otherwise, I'll be here a while. There were a lot of parents who wanted medication, which wasn't a route that we wanted to go down at that point. And it was something that I found as soon as you were diagnosed, that was the first and the pretty much the only suggestion from the GP and the doctor was, okay, you have a diagnosis here, have some tablets, which again wasn't something that we wanted to do at that stage. I've got nothing against people who do, that's absolutely their decision, but it wasn't for us. And I was trying to find some practical, useful advice really on kind of day-to-day sorting things out, like school refusal. How do you actually cope with that in the morning when your child says, I don't want to go? What do you actually do there and then? So that kind of thing. And found out it was really difficult to find anything like that. So we found our own ways of doing things. I was then at home because I'd stopped teaching, and Lou was, she was actually in my class when I stopped teaching. She was in year 3. So from then on all the way through her high school, I was at home all the time, which was a real luxury. I worked, but I could work from here. And so we developed all these different strategies and things that work for her. And I'm very lucky because I have a really good relationship with her, and she's very forthright, as I'm sure lots of parents on here will understand. So she was very, very good at, telling me exactly how she felt at all moments. And it just kind of snowballed from there, because I thought, if I'm coming up with all these strategies and I'm finding ways that work, then if I help other people do the same thing, they're in the same position I was, and there was nobody out there kind of doing it. So that's where it kind of came from. And she went to high school. And in that first term, I was talking to a few parents at the first parents' evening, because that's the other thing, isn't it? When they start high school, suddenly you don't know any of the parents anymore. You're a bit more removed. Yeah. But I started chatting to some people, and there was a big, big push about making sure they've got everything in their pencil case every day, and they've got to have a black pen and a green pen and a red, and all these different rules. And I'd just gone out and bought a pack of 20 black pens, a pack of rulers, a pack of rubbers, and just stuck them in the cupboard downstairs, because I knew that she'd lose them. I knew that she'd take the pens apart and lose the spring and it wouldn't work, that kind of thing. But I knew that would be a real stress for her. So they were just in the cupboard, so she could come home, she could just take another one, and it was really easy. And bizarrely, that one little thing, which I just thought was kind of common sense, went round the school like hotcakes. And everyone was like, oh, have you heard this idea? And, oh, we should do this. And everybody who had a child like that was kind of thinking, that's great. And that's when I suddenly thought, yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Those tiny little things that for you were just an obvious thing to do, the parents can really help. So that's kind of the place where Neurospicy Parenting kind of came from, those things. And then parents would say things that they did, and we kind of collected it all together. And now I run courses and do one-to-ones, and I don't work directly with the children, I work with the parents, because I think it's really important as a parent that you feel that you've got that control really, and that you know how to behave and how to do it, and how to, rather than somebody else having to swoop in and save the day. That's not what parenting's about, is it? So so that's amazing. Where it started.
Yeah. I love that. I do really. I love like where that came from, and the lived experience is always something that no amount of study can add that in when you're dealing with it every day. And as you say, it is amazing what we think is just, well, I'm sure everybody does that. Yeah. Actually, it isn't, and those little things can make people's life so much easier. So I really love that how your business works and how you empower parents and stuff to do things. So if people wanted to find out a bit more about you and Neurospicy Parenting, obviously all of your links go with with the interview. But do you tend to be in one place more? Is there a best way that people can contact you?
Yeah, like you say, I'm on all of the obvious places. I have a website which is just neurospicyparenting.com, which I get lots of information. Lots of people contact me through there, so that's fine. The other place in terms of social media is Facebook still at the moment. That's kind of the most obvious place for me, and my page on there is Neurospicy Parenting as well. So that's probably the easiest one.
Yeah, amazing. So if you do want to find out more about Gill and what she offers, then do head over to Facebook or her website, and you'll be able to find out more about her there. So a slight change of direction now. Obviously, it's your first. Well, it's not obvious, but this is your first year in the summit, which is amazing to have you on board. And I'm just wondering what it was that drew you into wanting to be a part of the summit.
Yeah, I'm so chuffed to be here this year. It's awesome. I can't believe that the complete breadth of the people who are here and who are talking. It's just amazing. I found out about it last year, but the week after it had finished. Last year was when I heard about it through a friend who said, "Oh, did you not? Oh, it was last week," and she talked a lot about it and explained what it was. So this year I was a bit more on alert, looking out for it, thinking, "Oh, I really want to make sure I go to that and find out all the information." So initially I was thinking, I want to go as a mum, with my mum hat on, really, as well as looking at what everybody else is doing. And then when there was the opportunity to be able to speak as well, I thought, actually, that would be great if I could contribute anything. So so that's kind of where. So I'm really excited to be part of it this year. Yeah, it's great, and I'm dying to listen to all the other speakers because there's some great people there. So that will be fab.
Amazing. And there is lots of content for people to access. So hopefully everybody will get something from it. And so as we sort of begin to wrap up, would you like to share with everybody just a little sneak peek of what it is you're going to be talking on this year?
Yeah, I've kind of, I know there's a lot of talk, quite rightly, about ADHD and autism and all those kind of things, but I've chosen this time to talk about dyslexia, which is kind of been a lot quieter. There's a lot less talked about dyslexia, I feel, at the moment. So it was a little bit of a, right, let's just bring that back in a little bit. And also with the whole neurodivergent kind of spectrum, I think it's one of those things that quite often is paired with other conditions, and is still, especially in girls, is still kind of not diagnosed at school, the same as a lot of neurospicy conditions. So this time I'm talking about stories for dyslexics, because it was a conversation I'd had probably 2-3 months ago over the Easter, actually, so longer than that. But anyway, with somebody who was saying that their daughter was dyslexic, so there was no point going to the library. And I'd had this conversation with them about, well, that actually doesn't make sense, because the library has dyslexia-friendly books, the coloured pages, has audio books, and there's so many more ways to access stories, because they said, oh, they don't like stories. So we started to have this conversation about, actually, my daughter loves stories, and there are so many ways to access stories, and ways that you can then process them afterwards and encourage the love of stories, which then encourages the love of reading that kind of comes more slowly and more kind of organically from that. So that's where I'm going with it. And I've always loved stories, so it's a bit of a soapbox subject. It's one that's close to my heart.
Amazing. And I think it is so important, because reading and the storytelling, how it helps with creativity and imagination, it is so important. And I think it is such an important topic, because many people do think that if you're dyslexic with them, that's not an option to you. So I think it's so important to realize that actually it is, the door isn't closed on that one. There are ways around it.
And like you say, it's the creativity that comes from that especially neurodivergent kids, have got so much creativity. It's usually oozing out of them. So to bar stories from them is almost kind of closing a door that's unfair. So yeah.
Yes, that is amazing. I look forward to that. And your talk will be on the trying to think of the date, the 18th, Wednesday the 18th, I believe. So do tune in. Yeah, they're 9. So well, if you can access them in 2 ways, just say this before we close. So they will be available on the website that you can just dip in and out of, or they will be in a Facebook group and will be sort of scheduled if you prefer more of a routine to the talks. And Gill's will be going out at 9:30. So do take a look for that as well. So thank you so much for your time today, Gill. It's been really lovely talking to you. Before we go, is there anything else you wanted to add that I didn't ask, or
No, I don't think so. I think just, to encourage as many people as possible to come along, because there are talks on so many different things that any parent will get information and will get value from the whole thing. I think there's going to be lots of things that will touch everybody across the broadness of the topics that we're being talked about. So yeah.
Thank you so much. So thank you for joining us again for another Speaker in the Spotlight, and join us again soon for another one. So thank you. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.